We've got a range of people here who've known Jane, from all the way back in elementary school to people who met her a couple of weeks before she died. So, wide range of experience, knowledge, remembrances. At the end, I would like everybody to kind of circulate and introduce yourself and how did you go first know Jane, where did you know her, what do you remember about her? Because, as the Reverend said, that's how a person's remembered. As long as somebody remembers stories or information or even thoughts about a person, that person's never really dead. As you know, Jane and I have been married a long time. I met her in 67, January of 67. And basically we grew up together. There are relatives, her close relatives here, her brother and sister are here who, in total have known her longer than I have. But I guess nobody has known her in depth, shall we say, as I have. Where do you start? What do you say? You all have your memories. I've got mine. Gotta say, I was interested right at the first start. The first time I saw her, it was like, oh, cute girl. I wonder who she is. Luckily, she was sitting next to a friend of mine because it was the only person she knew, being a new student. And after she went on her way, I leaned over and said, "Who's that? What dorm is she in?" Now, this was back in obviously the good old days for some of us. And at the time, the university had a card file in the administration building of every student, sitting out on the counter with the person's schedule, with their dorm, with their phone number, the city they were from, etc. So, of course, I went and checked on this person and wrote down her whole class schedule.
Stalker.
Boy, the coincidental meetings of her on campus that followed after that. I mean, she was astounded that I happened to have classes with her. At the time, she was dating somebody else, which is okay. I don't want to get anything going here, but you need to talk to somebody because he's not here. And you are. And I'm here. I'm more than willing to listen. Played that card right. She let him go.
Opportunist.
We left Vermont in 1970 and moved around a bit. I dragged her from coast to coast. We were a bunch of newlyweds in a car and a trailer of all our goods, going to a city where we knew nobody. But basically, we had ourselves. We had 2 dogs at the time. Always have had 2 dogs. Of course, we've got 2 down here now. The spirit of Jane roaming around. So, it's been us. We've had each other, but from the time I first knew her, she was family-oriented, kid-oriented, social project-oriented, always, and kept it up basically until the end. One of the last activities we went to as a group was therapy dog meeting. It was probably 2 weeks. So she wanted to do it. She was even talking about, well, maybe I can volunteer down at the town and things like that. I and a couple other people looked at her and said, well, right now I don't think that's something that you're going to be able to do very well. Because they want you to do things there rather than come in and they help you and what you're helping. So, logic, persuasion, and love, we're able to get her off of that. I'm not going to stand up here very long. You can ask me what you want to about her. You know, I know I'll see many of you here, there, and everywhere, whether it's at the mall, or birthday party at the restaurant, or run into you at Safeway again, or wherever. So I'd like to start with my oldest daughter, who's got some comments if she wants to come up. This is Karen. And I think what we'll do is, you know, Karen, you've got thoughts, and if your kids want to share, introduce them, and then we'll go down to Alyssa and Brenton, and then from there, I know some people have made a comment that they would like to say something, and I'd love to have people come, you know, whatever you remember, if it's a snippet, one of those, yeah, I remember doing this, that's fine. And if you don't want to, that's also fine. You know, we can live with that and remember it in our memory. So, this is my daughter, Karen. Our daughter, Karen.
All right. So when we were growing up, our parents would sing to us each night. My mom had the softest, most gentle voice, as she made the rounds and gently sang and tucked us each in. You're something special, always had a profound meaning for me. I'll see if I can't sing it. You're something special, you're one of a kind. Give you a bond, right home be mine. We have a special purpose that we want you to find. So we need you something special. You're the only one of your kind. These words always carry in my head and my heart. She never gave up on that something special, her miracle baby. She never stopped introducing me as her miracle baby. People would always respond, yes, all babies are miracles. To which she would say, no, she really is. Finally, my parents were able to have the family they longed for and tried for so many years. For each of us, she believed in our own special purpose that we continue to seek and grow from, so we could each be the only one of her kind. My mom had a gentle, admiring way of complimenting me, so I felt I was the most beautiful being, even when everything in me was malfunctioning. My courage and strength was born in her. Encouraging, nudging, insisting that I take on even the most painful days. And now that I have my own children, I can understand the gut-wrenching agony of pushing your child through pain and challenges so that they can be stronger, while she would sit in tears in the car. My children know that when I push them to persevere, to achieve, it's because my mom did it for me. She believed in my strength when I couldn't. Just as I believe they can push through and rise above everything. I'm proud to say that I've become my mother. She made me believe so strongly in myself that I came home from 8th grade one day, probably on crutches, and announced, I'm going to join the marching band and draw the flag line. She was surprised, probably had some doubts, and clearly didn't think I'd actually do it, but she was there cheering me on and believing in me for the next 4 years in marching band. I'm so lucky to have the family I've had. Through the good times, bad times, the zany times, of which there were many of each. Our family traditions, the ultimate inside jokes. As individuals and as a whole, we're a testament to the many years of tireless work she put in to make us happy, healthy, resilient. One of the hardest things is going to be never again being able to say thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. To have her squeeze my hand, or me squeeze hers after she took off her rings, to not be able to bend my head down to my little mommy when I needed a shoulder to cry on. As I was looking for things to say, I opened up a collection of Winnie the Pooh stories that I had and forgot about, and was greeted by the inscription, "I share my love of Pooh with you. Love, Mom." My mom shared with me her love of many things from Winnie the Pooh, so Khalil Gibran. And I want to end with reading from Khalil Gibran on mothers. The mother is everything. She's our consolation in sorrow, our hope in misery, and our strength in weakness. She's the source of love, mercy, sympathy, and forgiveness. He who loses his mother loses a pure soul who blesses and guards him constantly. Everything in nature bespeaks the mother. The sun is the mother of the earth. He gives its nourishment of heart. It never leaves the universe at night until it has put the earth to sleep, to the song of the sea and the hymn of the birds and brooks. And this earth is the mother of trees and flowers. It produces them, nurses them, and weans them. The trees and flowers become kind mothers of their great fruits and seeds. And the mother prototype of all existence, the eternal spirit, full of beauty and love. Thank you all for being here today. I know how special she was to you, and it would mean a lot to help each of you.
You know the boys.
Right. So I'm going to bring up, I guess my kids. First, Cameron. If you notice, they both have different, or they all have different names on their shirts. Because Madeline being
It's easier
told
to identify them.
is about 6 months older than Cameron, and obviously could talk a lot sooner than Cameron could. So we have, depending on who she was talking to, either Grant or Yaya.
She sadly passed on December 12, 2017. She left too early. She was battling Parkinson's disease. Thanks to all the people at the Hospice of the Valley to try to help.
Thanks to all the people at Hospice of the Valley for trying to help her live as long as she could. And also thanks to Chandler Regional Medical Center. They all contributed to helping out to try to save my grandma's life. We all loved her and she loved us with all her heart. She would do anything to protect us, now as she was always watching over us. Rest in peace, Yaya. So this is Hayden. Hayden's going to read his piece.
Hello, everybody. You all may know my grandma, Jane Marie, who we all know and love. She is the best grandma ever and always was nice. She never let me down and taught me many different things. Although she's no longer with us, I'll never forget her and I'll always love her forever.
You got heels.
Hi, I'm Alyssa, the middle one, just like Jane. Thank you all so much for coming. It's amazing how many people loved her and how many people that she loved. So when I started to think about what I would say today, I thought, well, it's going to be easy. I talk for a living. So, How hard can it be? But how do you squeeze 70 years of someone's life into just 5 minutes? Never mind an amazing, complex, dynamic person like my mom. I thought about how she would want to be remembered, what she would want me to say. She would say, "Don't make it too sad. I don't want everybody crying over me." And she would say, "This is one of those times. You either need to laugh or you need to cry. So we need to try to find a way today to laugh for her." And after today moving forward, she would say, "When you think of me, don't cry. Don't shed tears. I want you to smile and laugh." Secondly, she would say, "Talk about what I loved." She had so many loves. Her friends, obviously all of you. Whether they were from book club, the walking ladies, church, the service dogs, family, etc. Other things she loved, the beach. When we would go to San Diego, she would sneak us off to run errands, and we would literally do a drive-by at the beach, just to put our toes in the sand, our feet in the water. She loved the mountains. We spent countless hours as a family in that tiny little tent trailer on the road, as long as a month at one point. She loved dogs and animals in general. Throughout the years, we had many animals, especially dogs. She loved art, and if you notice throughout the room, there's all different examples of her art, whether it's her paintings, her pictures, as well as her poetry. One of the greatest gifts she left was a huge book of poetry. And she loved food, especially chocolate, just like her mom. So Mom had so many loves, but the one thing she loved more than sitting on the beach, eating Scotch mallows while petting her dog was her family. And nothing else mattered. Nothing came before family. Her goal in life was to build a strong family that loved one another, and she did just that. One thing that really sat with me on her last days was the fact that all she wanted to build was a legacy of love, and she did that. So I was going to read one of her poems and then decided instead to try to write one of my own. Now I realize it's kind of like painting a picture for Picasso, but I gave it a go. On the day you're born, it's the first thing that you receive. The foundation of this gift is love. And every day forward, it will be there with you. Some are big and some are small. Some days it will make you laugh and smile. Other days, it may frustrate you and make you crazy. When you're sad, it will be there to comfort you. You may not always like it, but you will always love it. You may not, when you are down, it will lift you up. It will be your cheerleader when you have reason to celebrate. It may not always physically be with you, but its energy and strength will. Throughout the years, it will grow and expand, and sometimes even diminish. On your last days, it will be there to comfort you and itself. And when you are gone, it will continue to live on forever. Treasure it, because it is the only one you have. This gift is family. And that was the thing that mattered the most to my mom. And each and every one of you is a part of that family. Thank you all for coming. Now I'm going to start off with my kids. This is her granddaughter, Madeline.
Person. She's always energetic, loving, and fun. She used to always make chocolate chip cookies for us. She always decided to make books out of them. About 3 days before she passed away, she told us 3 words. She said, "Please make our coffee." She's beyond my grandmother. She is my best friend. She used to invite us over and watch us swim, just to watch us swim. She was also a very crafty person. She loved to paint and knit. She painted so much paintings. She also loved to eat See's candies. I would always remember her showing her my seashell collection, and she always would bring back gifts from her trips. I hope you enjoy the ceremony to remember an amazing person, my best friend, my granny, Jane Ellen Berenbury. Thank you. Here's my sister Paige.
Drop the mic.
I'm her granddaughter, person. She was a great grandma, mom, and friend to all of us. She might have been a little crazy sometimes because and we all know that she's in a better place now, and she was always there for us, and
Paige, go say the best part. Yeah. Paige, you have to say. Where's the punchline? It won't be the same.
my name is Carla, and I'm Glen's grandson, and she was really special to me because I never got to meet any of her. She always wanted to take us to this church, and I'm sad that she can't anymore. But I'm happy that she's in a better place, and thank you for coming. And this is something that Gwen used to have, and now my mom gave it to me. This here is Uncle Glenn.
Finish what Paige wrote.
I don't know how you can follow any material like that, so I'll do my best, but I probably have about 10 seconds before I start falling. So, as my dad and my sisters and my nieces and nephews have all mentioned, we all know that family and friends are really what matters in this world. And so, excuse me, did I reach 10? So, my mom was always. Yeah. So my mom was always there for me. She was really. She's really my biggest cheerleader. I went through a number of struggles in junior high and high school. There were always these moments of doubt as to, whether I would graduate high school on time. And throughout graduate school, throughout moving, cross country, she was always there. And she was my biggest supporter and cheerleader. I could always count on whenever I would see her, her face would light up, and it was just, it was like the sun. And so, I really want to thank you all for being there for her, in, good times and bad. She went through some rougher times towards the end, and thank you all for being there for her like she was there for me. It meant a lot to her, and it really means a lot to all of us. Thank you very much. Thanks, Moms.
Obviously, this is the part of the show where if you have comments or remembrances that you want to talk about, I'd like you to come down. I'll introduce the person walking down here. This is her older brother. Made sure she was a middle child.
Big brother.
Yeah, big brother. Couple of notes as to at the end of the service. We do have food in the back, obviously. We have some candy. There's really chocolate if you like that. We have other things back there. There is adult beverage in the bag because, as you know, with Parkinson's, you have to take a lot of medication. And a lot of medication means you can't imbibe when you want to or at all. And she liked the wine. She liked beer. Not obviously overboard, but in the evening it was nice to have a glass. So if you feel like it, please have a small glass. As you do, remember Jane saying, this is for you. Also, Aaron has a table set up with the bust of Jane on it with some small white squares. If you have a short thing that you can think of that reminds you of Jane, write it down on that square because Aaron's planning to take the square, photocopy it onto fabric, and then make a quilt out of it. The quilt in the back in the center of the room, when you go back, there is one Aaron made for her that covered her when she passed away. So, if you would help her, I'd appreciate it. So, without further ado, I'll introduce my brother-in-law, Robert Baer, Dr. Baer.
Thank you. Well, I'm sorry to be here, but I'm also glad to be here today. And I was looking through some sort of an accumulation of stuff a couple weeks ago. And we had, as kids, we had this basset hound. His name was Whoopi. And Whoopi, among other things, one of my memories was the time that Whoopi figured out how to get into the refrigerator. My mother used to hang a dishcloth on the refrigerator. Whoopi figured out he could pull that and open the door. And what was in there that day was Jane's birthday cake. So, of course, I happened to find Whoopi's registration with Jane's name on it. He was officially registered to her from the American Chemical. I'm used to working with chemicals.
Before he moves on to another topic, I passed the Whoopi challenge. She told me the first time I went to her house, my dog is Whoopi, he's a basset. And if he doesn't like you, that's it. Whoopi like you.
And I think this is a really good time to thank Chris for all the love and care, the care and caring for Jane over the years. I mean, it's not easy being a caregiver and it's often forgotten. So, Chris, hey, pay attention. Pay attention. Anyway, thank you, Chris, for all your care and being a caregiver for all these years. It's not. We often refer to him as St. Christopher, for good reason. And another little jewel I found, sort of changing speeds here, was a letter that Jane wrote to me. It's dated July 2nd, 1956. I pulled out my glasses even for this. And she was away at summer camp. And she says, I'm learning to swim. This is not a real long letter, so don't worry. My counselors' names are Mary and Dick. I have a boyfriend. His name is Danny Bloom. We call him Bloomer. Love, Janie. P.S. Write to me. Chris, I'll leave this with you as well. We had a lot of critters in our house growing up, and Jane loved to play with these things. And among other things, she had this hamster. The hamster's name was Tuesday. And being a fairly low-budget family, Jane and I, we built the cage that Tuesday lived in. We were in elementary school at the time. Well, Tuesday got out, and we didn't see Tuesday for about a month. And then one day, our mother was doing some cleaning behind a piece of furniture, and there was Tuesday, who had survived the month. I don't know where he got water, maybe they don't eat much, but survived this month by eating the new carpet. So that didn't make a lot of sense. We had these cats. We had 2 cats. Their names were Pitchy and Nettie. I'm not sure where the Pitchy came from, but Nettie was named after our grandfather Dad. So these 2 cats, one day we came home from school, from elementary school, and the cats were gone. And Mother said, well, we sent them to Florida. I suspect they went to the town, whatever. So anytime after that either Jane or I would see somebody that said they'd been in Florida, we'd always ask them. Jane was really on this, have you seen our cats? The names are Pitchy and Nettie. And other creatures that we had in our house, I had a bunch of snakes, garter snakes, harmless, and so Jane would come into my room. She wasn't too keen on it, but she'd come into my bedroom and I'm playing with these snakes. And this was sworn secrecy for years, but one of them got away. Jane gave a big screech as this happened. It disappeared between the pipes of our heating system, never to be seen again. Anyway, Jane was a good friend to grow up with. We loved each other, but we also fought like cats and dogs. I have the scar to prove it today. I don't know what I did. I probably deserved it, but she threw a block at me and hit me in the head. I got a little dent right here. You're all welcome to feel later. I've got, well, my wife, sister, and daughter and son are here. I don't want to embarrass them too much. Anyway, the block and the visit to the emergency room, whether she felt badly about that. But we were fierce playmates as kids, and we got enough share of trouble. I remember, I think I'm 2.5 years older, and we were probably, I think she was about 8, and we decided it was a nice, warm summer morning. Nobody else was up, so we paraded around the neighborhood naked. We did that once. That was back in the days when you could spank kids. So it's good as it might be. We come together, and it's neat that she carried on with that. I have to say that when we moved apart, when we both graduated from college, we didn't see each other very often. Chris and Jane came to visit us, I think once when we moved to Michigan, and we saw them a couple times in Maine later on, where we're still living at the moment. Another story I want to tell you, it was, we stayed up one night, neither of us was very, probably 9, James probably 9 or 10. We stayed up one night, we had permission to watch the original Frankenstein in black and white on TV. Well, we were both scared, and Jane was at least admitted more to it than I did. And it was decided that she was going to sleep on the floor of my room that night so I could protect her in case he was still in the neighborhood. So we worried about that. I found a lot of old letters from Jane and Chris. At some point, I'd like to share them with you and see what you can have them. I've kept them for a long time, and I was glad to find the ones that I have. And I also found some other letters related to, I found one from our grandmother, Irma, that, and I've got this one with me, I'll leave it with you, that was talking about Jane, and actually, I think Alyssa was just born. It's an interesting description for Alyssa. But it was mainly good. Anyway, I'll always Miss Jane. She'll always be a part of me, and it just came as such a shock that she went at this age. Of course, we look forward to maintaining our ties with this part of the family, and hope that we'll see you either here or there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Etna Thompson. How I love my friend Jane.
She was wonderful. She brightened my life. We met through our water aerobics group. We call ourselves the Water Babes. There's a whole row of us back here. Our group has been together over 20 years. Besides our time at exercise, when Jane participated as long as she could, we have at least 3 social gatherings a month, which usually would include Jane and Chris and Caesar, and then Jane and Chris and Spice. Through the years, we've learned a lot about each other and formed a very strong, loving sisterhood and brotherhood. Jane reminds me of one of the Bible verses that means a lot to me. It says in Proverbs 17:17, "A friend loves at all times." And that was Jane. Jane was my cheerleader. I heard some of you say the same thing. She was that way for me too. A true friend through great times and through challenging times. When my only grandchild was born, Jane celebrated with me and continued to ask me about him and the rest of my family. When I retired, Jane, Chris, and Caesar all helped make my party complete. When I went through an especially difficult time that lasted for several years, Jane was there, a constant source of encouragement and support. She listened with her loving heart. We laughed together, shared stories of our lives and families, ate together, and shared so much happiness and joy, and how she loved all of you, her family. You were her pride and joy, and we heard a lot about you, and they were all wonderful things. My life was enriched by Jane and blessed by her. I will always have a special place in my heart for my friends whom I will miss. I will forever be grateful for Jane.
Hello. My name is Jeff Thomas. I met the Murrays 26 years ago. And, over the years, we've spent a lot of time together. And I consider you all very, very good friends. Jane and I worked on a lot of projects together. I had the opportunity to visit her classroom and speak to her kids on a number of occasions. Jane and I put together some continuing education workshops for the Mesa School District. Worked on a lot of stuff with the family. One of the projects we did back in the day revolved around the theme of dragons. And when we were completed, they gave me this book of poems, The Dragons Are Singing Tonight, by Jack Krolutsky. The inscription reads, "To Sir Geoffrey, Slayer of Dragons, from the Murrays, Chris, Jane, Alyssa, Aaron,
Wait, who made this?
Sir Brent of the Round Table."
She published this?
So I'd like to read you one of these tonight for this afternoon, titled "The Dragons Are Singing Tonight." Tonight is the night all the dragons awake in their lairs underground to sing in cacophonous chorus and fill the whole world with their sound. They sing of the days of their glory. They sing of their exploits of old, of maidens and knights and of fiery fights and guarding vast caches of gold. Some of their voices are treble, and some of their voices are deep. But all of their voices are thunderous, and no one can get any sleep. I lie in my bed and I listen, enchanted and filled with delight, to songs I can only hear one night a year. The dragons are singing tonight. Tonight they sing for Jane. Thank you.
Go birthday girl.
So, Gran loved to draw just like I do. There's a picture back there that always hangs in my room, and it's of four flowers, one red, one orange, one yellow, and one reddish, one's yellow. We all had such fun coloring and drawing together. I remember one afternoon she took us home from school and we drew a picture while she was painting that picture. And since she loves pigs so much, and she also liked hearts, I did a pig plus heart equals Gran.
Aww.
And although she is gone now, we all know that she's still within this room, all in our hearts. And we can remember her in many different ways by celebrating Hanukkah, making toffee, and eating seeds. The person who made me like chocolate the most was Gran. And I got very surprised and sad when I couldn't eat chocolate because I was allergic to it. So now I can have it and I eat as much as I can. So I try winning prizes to get M&M's and chocolate, and I don't share because I want it. What did you say? Maddie and Cameron, Kyle, Maddie, and Hayden have all been such a big support through this. And we are all very sad of her loss. But we'll eventually meet her someday where she is now. And I guess Kyle wants to speak again.
Don't.
Thank you. I mostly want to speak from those that knew her a lot because she's really special to me, and it made me sad. All my cousins helped me get through it. And thank you for coming.
That's it.
Here's Maddie.
No. Oh, no. Hold on.
That's pink.
Cameron wants to
No.
speak.
Just no.
Okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Cameron.
Okay.
Go on.
Cool.
No. Go. See if there's any.
Take over.
No.
Getting out of hand here.
Here is
I actually am a him. You may have noticed that one of the things that I like so much about Jane was her gorgeous hair. It was the perfect color. As you will know, I first met Jane through Chris. We began teaching in Gila Bend, if you can believe it. And we commuted back and forth every day. For 6 years, I think Chris only for one, but then he continued his commute to Casa Grande. So it really didn't make much difference in terms of distance. And so The last time I saw Jane was at a restaurant where my wife and I and Chris and Jane were taking a meal, and I remember the great service that Chris provided for his wife. You want to go nail it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sit down.
I was an English teacher. Chris taught technology. As an English teacher, I'm really stuck with teaching a lesson. So here we go. One of my favorite poets is a guy named Johnny Donne. He was particularly good at writing the Italian sonnet. It's a very tight box to put poetry in. And I could go into a lot of definition of it, but I think I'll just share one of his poems that just seems right for this occasion. He speaks to death, and he speaks to death as an underling, as a minor character in the world, in the universe. He says, "Death, be not proud, though some call thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow, dying or death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be much pleasure, how much more from thee must flow at soonest our best men? With thee to go to the rest of their bones and souls' delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Just with poison words that just dwell in poverty, charms can make us sleep well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then one short sleep past? We wake eternally. Death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die.
Grab the children.
Since she told me to stand, I'm going to stand. My name's Darlene. I knew Jane for 40 years. She wasn't my family, but she became my family. Chris and Jane were my cousins. Never introduced them as my husband's cousins. They were mine. Jane was very generous of spirit. And the main thing I wanted to say about Jane is she was very generous with what I had. And she shared what I had with her family. It was funny. She would come over and say, "Okay, well, my kids are coming, and they're going to stay with you for a couple of weeks." Okay. That's just how she was. And the thing that I wanted to say is Jane loved her family so much. She was so proud of your children. And she wanted us to love you the way she loved you. And so I think her being generous with our home was really a blessing, because we have a relationship with you that we probably wouldn't have had it not been for how Jane was. And she shared her grandchildren with us. She just, I'm going to miss her terribly. She would come every summer and stay with us. She planned every meal, every day, every hour. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. And it's just, I'm going to miss her. And I hope that you'll still come every summer, and that you'll still come and stay with us
and that you will come, because you haven't yet, and come and stay with us. So she's just hearing everybody talk about their relationship with Jane. She was such a loving person, and the way she loved each person was just exactly what they needed. So, I'm going to miss her. Thank you. We love you. Love you very much.
Thank you, darling.
We soon discovered a friendship that would last almost 30 years and span the country. Growing up in middle school, Erin's home was a frequent hangout spot, and her parents, Jane and Chris, opened their home and their hearts to us, Diana, Cynthia, and myself. Their home became a third place for me, and they became another loving set of parents. I moved away for high school. However, my friendship with Erin continued to thrive, something that I completely credit her with. Through her stories and updates about home and Facebook posts, I continue to witness the love, the joy, and the family traditions that Jane and Chris fostered and grew with their 3 children, Erin, Alyssa, and Brent, and eventually Corey and Andrew, and then their grandchildren. Jane's passing, although not unexpected, is no less painful. She was a joy and delight that bound her family together. I close with a quote from my grandmother, who lost her husband to Hodgkin's disease when she was 40. Then in my morning, I suddenly realized, almost as if struck by an epiphany, that I must live my husband's share too, and not be half the person I thought I had become, but twice. The passage of time never really heals such a loss. But instead of being swept away by our grief, we can choose to honor Jane by carrying on, by being kind to one another, loving twice as hard, and striving for and achieving our goals. And let me give you Erin and your degree. In this way, she will always be with us during this time.
Jane was my older sister. I loved her dearly. When I was 16, my mother wouldn't let me get my ears pierced, so she did, and in Jane's honor, I'm wearing Yankee earrings. So Jane and I love the Yankees. So when I think of them, I think of her. And I remember when she moved to Oregon, I graduated high school and I flew out there, and it was just fun. And I moved to Arizona in 1979 to be with my sister Grace. So I watched everybody grow up. I miss her dearly. I think about calling her, and I loved her dearly. And I wish I just had more time. So thank you.
Well, my name is Jason. I'm Jane's nephew, and my mother just spoke. And yeah, this is tough. I have a lot of good memories of Jane, and one thing I think a model that we should bring forth is Jane was very big on family, and she brought our families together, and she continues to bring our family together. And I think that's something that we should be very grateful for. She brought me wonderful cousins and my best friend. So I think we should be very thankful for that, and she will continue to do that. So I think that's important, bringing the cousins together. So love all the cousins, my main cousins, my Arizona cousins. everyone. So thank you for being here. I'm very grateful for that.
We know there are lots of stories that haven't been told just now, and there'll be time to stick around. I hope you'll take advantage of that time to continue to share stories about your relationship with Jane and the one Sheila, friends and family. Even in this time of grief, as we begin to conclude this part of our time together, we reflect on the value of life in the words of Duncan Howlett, who wrote, "Life is worth the living. It is good and it is beautiful in spite of the tragedy with which it is often beset. We glory in life undergirded by the faith that its goodness is pervasive. And so we go on, those who have known sorrow, strong in the faith that life is somehow good even though we do not always understand it. We go on no matter what befalls us, doing the right, following the true and the good. We go on living the life we're given to live, knowing that it is a good life, however difficult it may at times be. And in so living, we shall find that our faith is not false, that life is good to those who live it with sincerity and fortitude." After a brief break, we will continue the video presentation. The family invites you to take a few moments to grab refreshments if you would like. The restrooms are outside and to the left if you need them. Please know again that you're invited to stay around, to share stories, and to watch the presentation as you talk with one another. Go in peace, dear friends, and may peace go with you. Amen.
Thank you.